And the tough part is just walking into something different, walking into a new territory. Yeah. And doubt tries to come, but I always say that doubt always comes to disrupt destiny. And
man, we're going to take an offering. Man, you guys didn't know what you just heard. Doubt disrupts destiny.
Oh, man.
What your cash app we put on the bottom. Y'all don't know what you're hearing right now, man.
Oh, man. No, but, you know, and that type of thing, because like I said, I was always, you know, you're going to do it this way. You know what I mean? But when God really starts to deal with you, and my parents have been amazing, supportive during this whole process. And son, go do what God called you to do. And my parents, it was similar with them. What they had to do, and they're very intertwined in all of this. And I love them a lot. But also I have to walk my own journey, and the journey that God called me to walk at the same time.
You know, but I think we're already started, man. But we got a repeat. I feel like the best repeat ever. We got my boy Edward Thomas, but he comes with, I feel like the boss, the queen. Go ahead and introduce yourself. She's like, I don't know how to do this.
Priscilla. Thomas. Wifey, I guess.
Wifey. She's like, I guess.
That's the wife.
She's nervous.
She is.
Well, dude, I mean, let's just get straight into this, man. First off, I want to tell you, man, the event you guys had, MLK Day, the day before, is called Countdown to King.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you, man, you guys put on an event. That really just impressed me. You know, just to be there to support, you know, to see the community, see the talent, to see what, you know, that is super necessary, man. And, you know, to pull off an event like that, you know, have that many people show up and show out, man, it's, you know, I mean, talk about that. You guys are detoxing from just the hard work and the mind. Yeah. Maybe both of you guys from your experience, just talk about that real quick, man, and just kind of what you guys got out of it.
Well, first of all, thank you all so much for coming and supporting. Right. It means a lot when you have friends that genuinely come to support and have your back with it. So thank y'all for showing up, man. It was definitely spectacular to have y'all there. Yeah. But it was amazing to put it on. Obviously, this was our second time doing it. First time in 3 years. So being back in it was an experience. Obviously I do all kind of other events. I was on there before for Kick It Outreach. We've done a plethora of other things, but being able to jump back into Countdown to King, it was great the first time we did it. So I've always been antsy to get back into it. Obviously we haven't been able to do it the last 2 years due to COVID and Dr. King's family asking for no celebration. But so I've always been, after the first year, it was a real buzz for it to come back, and then obviously COVID. But this year I was excited to get back at it. So it was just a neat thing, man, seeing everybody together. You really don't see a lot of events like that here with, you know, white people, black people, Mexican people, Asian people, this kind of person, that kind of person, this kind of music, that kind of music. Everybody was together, and I think that's the essence of Dr. King's message, was equality and unity and bringing people together, because as much as we were traumatized and so much injustice against us, his message wasn't putting us aside and let's go start our own thing. It was include us in the equality of everything. So, and we love you even if you're our enemy. So I think at the end of the day, the event kind of speaks to that, and then also it addresses the issues that we see in Fresno with the divisiveness. You can take that same message, because the message that King had that made a difference wasn't just love, it was God's love. And that's what's able to transform an enemy into a friend. So in Fresno with the gang violence and things of that nature and the divisiveness, we can take God's love the same way King did and apply it to the issues that we see here in Fresno.
That's what's up. What about you? You know, from your, because I was watching you guys.
Yeah.
I'm a guy that watches everybody, and especially you two. So I was watching how you guys interact. So from your experience, what did you get? What'd you get from that whole night?
He puts everything together to bring it up to the event, and then I feel like, and then I kick in the day of the event, and then I help just kind of run everything. I feel like just keep track of time, what goes on. I'm more of the camera person, I guess, too. I capture videos and pictures in those moments just so we can go back and look and not have any missed moments, I guess. But it was an amazing event. I'm really proud of him for what he did and how he brought it all together and brought so many people together. I mean, it was a lot of time, and then obviously time away from us at home, because writing people back. He's on phone calls. He then when he gets close to the event, he's doing interviews and he's in and out the house. So it's a lot of that goes on. But I mean, it's an amazing turnout, and you go back and you're just like, wow, you're like in awe of it, kind of. Yeah.
You had a mind, you had an idea, a picture of what it is, and then when you actually see it, go through it, then you're like, oh, it actually exceeded it. You know, I felt like it really exceeded my expectations.
And Fresno coming out and supporting the way they did, it was just,
you normally don't see that with events. And we even saw room to grow. I mean, we was able to, get a good number in there, but our goal is to pack that thing out. So we're going back next year. We're gonna pack that thing out.
Yeah.
But even that, like what even did, man, it was amazing because like I said, a lot of events here, don't really do that. So
I mean, I like the balance of it because because you would expect, Christian event, is it not? I didn't mind, the cursing or the the music or feathers. I didn't mind that. If anything, man, because again, what I believe, if you are offended by the world, how can you reach the world? If you, I'm not saying we're partaking and and living in that lifestyle. No, we want to show you, hey, we're in it with you. We'll go to you. Isn't that what Jesus did?
Yeah,
he was hanging out with the woman at the well, and she was slamming. She was out there. She's like, the dude you with ain't your man. You hope.
Yes, sir.
And Zacchaeus, tax collectors, man, those guys were evil dudes. But Jesus like, I'm going to your house. Let's go get something.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe I got. Because in my mind, I'm just taking everything in, man, and to see you guys pull that off, especially the team around you. You guys have a solid team, young team.
Yeah. I love my team.
Let's get into that team.
Our team.
I love my team.
Our team is solid. Like they're for us. They're there for it. I mean, I don't know.
I say all the time I wouldn't be able. A lot of people see me. I'm in the media, or I'm in interviews, or I'm on the stage. When we got the proclamation from Tyler Maxwell. And my team was like, oh, he called me up. And I'm like, no, y'all coming up with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is us. And from Angel to Tyrone to Brandon, Nessa, Deanna, I mean, I wouldn't be able to, everybody thinks my team is like 35 people. And we know it's going to expand as time goes on. But the events I've been doing the past few years, it's us, man. I have the most incredible team in the world, and they really bring it.
And they run with it.
Take their part, run with it. Everything is a great atmosphere, and it's a great what's the word I'm looking for? Chemistry. We have an amazing chemistry with all of us. So everybody I think he brought us together for a reason, and you can see why. And everybody plays their part, but everybody's on one accord, and I think that's one of the key things. With us is we speak the same thing, say the same thing. The vision is there. And once we set out to do something, we've seen our events grow from, whether it was with Kick It Outreach with 40 pairs of shoes to this year reaching 900 people in Fresno and Las Vegas, or starting out with Countdown to King, which this year grew to, in only our second one, we had 3 times the crowd that we had the first time. So we never limit ourselves. Everybody's mind is bigger. Sky's the limit because we know it's more people to reach in this world. It's not,
And we definitely value their opinion as well. Yeah. Like we welcome that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, their idea can be greater than what you think you may not. I don't know. Like we may be thinking something, but then the next person say, well, what about this? What if we do this? And then we're like, oh, that's even greater. So we're all open to like speaking our minds, our ideas, and we definitely welcome that. And we appreciate that. But I mean, we flow together. Our vibe is perfect together. I mean, I love.
I saw that. Again, I'm a watchful guy because I've been a part of events like that. I've actually ran events, and I love to see. I'm just a spectator now, and just to see it, watch it flow. It's like that works. That's working. I'm seeing how you guys are communicating. I was watching you guys. I wasn't creepy. I wouldn't be like,
no, way. I'm very observant.
And I'm just watching. I'm like, that makes sense. It made sense. And what about you? I mean, wifey here. I'm sorry, we got Laura here.
What's up, wifey?
I did that the last time you were here. By the way, 30 minutes into the pod, wifey here. What you think? What did you think about that night?
I thought it was great. I don't think Fresno does that very often. I was like, you know what? Why do we do it? Why do they do it once a year? They should do it in a way to where, hey, all talent come in, as a show. I mean, I thought it was great.
Thank you.
I liked it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think she was like the only, I only saw like 2 white people there. She was number 2. We're reaching the white folk. No, there we go. No,
There we go.
And I was teasing her the whole. I was like, "Babe, are you the only white person in your team?" I mean, we got black people, we got brown people, we got Asian people,
Yeah.
and there's you and the other one right there. She was just
Okay, we want to show our support. Okay.
She's a ride or die.
She's definitely rocking with us.
Yeah, well, she is half Hispanic. Her mom's straight up Mexican, bro, and her dad's white, but she got the dad's genes. But
okay.
But no, I think overall that night was amazing. But you also made a big announcement. I mean, let's get straight into that. You guys made a big announcement, especially for real quick. How old are you guys?
I just turned 34 years old. She's 33.
Yeah, y'all some young bucks. I'm 41. I'm an old head.
Yeah.
You know, how old is your team? Let's get into that. How old is your team? What's the age bracket for your
40
team?
and under.
40 and under. So Tyrone, and you would never know that. He's like
wait.
works right next to me. He's our assistant. How old is Tyrone? I think he's 40 or 41.
Yeah.
And then his
My-
wife
yeah.
is right below him.
Mhm.
Brandon's
27.
27. Deanna, I think is this around the same age. Yeah, Nessa's 23, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we're all
youngest.
yeah.
I guess
Yeah, you
it's
guys-
a range.
Yeah, you guys got a good bracket, man, an age bracket to reach. And here's the announcement. You guys made a big announcement that night, and we're here to make it official. What are you guys launching? What are you starting?
Well, obviously I've been an assistant pastor, and it's been one of the joys of my life to serve under my parents. And I think everybody always expects you to do, a certain thing. And excuse me, hitting the mic. Everybody expects you to do, under my father, even me, like I'm gonna take over my dad's church one day. But obviously when I went through getting sick, and we kind of got into it a little bit the last podcast, I saw a lot of my future clear, and a lot of things happened after that. But one of the things that got revealed to me that I was gonna start my own church, and he told me, and I was like, nah, that wasn't me, and I just put it off to the side. But over the past few years, he dealt with me more and more and more. When God is calling you to do something, there's an urgency of now. Speaking to Dr. King, from the past event, he talked about that, having a fierce urgency for now, and I think that's where I am in my life, and now's the time. So we announced on Sunday, and we're announcing right here that we are starting Impact Church this year, 2023. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How are you, real quick? How are you about this too? How excited or how scared, nervous? And how were you when he was like, "Babe, we doing this"? You're like, "Huh?"
Yeah,
because I know
definitely my reaction. I don't know. I was kind of like, are we? Like, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when God calls you, like, I don't know, you just gotta jump and go in it, and have Him take you. And I don't know. I'm definitely a little nervous, but I know God's got us. So
well, I think just by watching you guys, by the event, just Sunday night, man, and leading up to Monday, the day of, you guys can handle it. I honestly believe, when you guys got like a couple like you guys and that have that same mindset, the same direction, the support, because there's things that I can't do without her support.
Yeah.
Even though I'm great at it, even though I know I can make it happen. If I'll be real, the first podcast we had, I didn't include her at all. It was just me and this dude. And we're like, we're just going to get it. And we were, but didn't include her.
Yeah.
So that fell apart. And I believe that was one of the main reasons why God was like, it's just not working. And so when we started this.
Yeah.
And so she's in as much as I am. She does all the production, the directing, producing, but again, when you have the support, that's what's vital. That's what's important, and I can tell. That's why I asked you first, because we've seen the experiences of starting churches and spouses are like, okay, I guess we're doing this, and but what are you guys looking forward to now, starting this ministry, starting this new, I really believe it's a young church, this new era of young church where you go, what's your vision? What's your mission? What's the goal? Where are you going to be located, first of all, too?
Before I say that, she's been amazing with supporting. When I actually told her that I wouldn't dive into it. I said, you can, I'm a community leader. I don't have to necessarily, but I'm called to. But at the end of the day, I told her, you're most important. And if you don't, if you don't want to do this, I'll walk away from it.
He did.
And she no, this is what God is calling us to do. And obviously making a decision is tough. Obviously being and the tough part is just walking into something different, walking into a new territory. Yeah. And doubt tries to come, but I always say that doubt always comes to disrupt destiny. And
man, we're gonna take an offering. Man, you guys didn't know what you just heard. Doubt disrupts destiny.
Oh man.
What your cash app we put on the bottom. Y'all don't know what you're hearing right now, man.
Oh man. No, but and that type of thing, because like I said, I was always, you're gonna do it this way. You know what I mean? But when God really starts to deal with you, and my parents have been amazing, supportive during this whole process, and son, go do what God called you to do. And my parents, it was similar with them, what they had to do, and they're very intertwined and all of this. And I love them a lot. But also I have to walk my own journey, and the journey that God called me to walk at the same time. But obviously our goal and mission, God has always given me a specific I think calling for young people. Even if you look at Countdown to King, my kind of passion behind that was, and I work with the city now on their events, the march and all of that. A lot of the events cater more towards the older crowd. And I kind of saw, even before I started working with them, these events, where's the young people? Where are they finding out about Dr. King's message of peace, love, and unity? To a place that really needs to hear it. So, especially with the young people. So it's always been a burden for me. So seeing that there is a burden and a void with a young people, that's where my heart is. Obviously our church is for everybody. But there's somebody that God wants me to reach in a certain demographic, and I'm looking forward to doing it. Obviously now we are the location is still up for it'll be coming out in the next few weeks. Okay. But we're still in between a few things, but we've been working diligently almost the past year with us and our team, and very quietly, because don't nobody know it. Nobody's known anything but a handful of people. But we've been working, and we're ready to go.
Yo, that's exciting, man. Because I understand, because we've been a part of, I don't know how many church plants you've been a part of. 2, huh, Laura?
Yeah, 2.
And I've been probably about 3 church plants. I know what it takes. It takes a lot, man. You gotta, especially to get your vision, and to get a group of people around you to support. We had that when we started out. Or at least when we were helping out a couple other pastors. Because I can count how many churches I've been in my whole life. It's like 5, like committed. It's not like I get called everywhere. Oh, God called me over here. No, wait, God called me back. God called me over here. I'm not that guy. I'm committed. So when I make a decision, it has to be right.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And to start something, it has to be right. It has to be God led, man. It has to be spirit led.
It has to.
And to jump into my roots and all this, it's one of those things where we're very careful now on what we say yes to and how we say yes to it. We really believe, it has to be, inspired by the Holy Spirit, man, every decision. And I do believe hearing your guys is just what we're talking about right now. It's spirit led.
Yeah.
I believe it, and so when it comes down to, because again, I tried looking up earlier just kind of how many churches are in Fresno, Central Valley, in the state of California. I think 2010, there was like 22,000 churches in, California, and it's like, and this is my, and this is kind of where this is the old guy in me. How are we different? How are we going to be different in the church? When we start, that's my question every time. Because you'll see and hear the same thing when someone starts, but as far as your vision, like we're like young people, I really believe young people are it. One of the pastors I used to follow back in where everyone knows Stephen Furtick, he doesn't have youth services, on Sundays. No, everyone enjoys the because that's it. And so he's heavily invested in that. And I've always loved that. It's like you don't put kids in a closet, students. All right, you guys just go read the Bible and look at stuff or be on your phone, And so your vision, for Fresno. What do you feel like, God's put on your heart? I mean, I don't know if it's like secrets or G14 classifieds, like, no one's going to do it because they're going to take my idea. I mean, I don't know. What do you foresee? What both of you guys foresee for Impact Church?
The vision is simple. Obviously, we have our mission statement, which we're going to be putting out later. But just to kind of taste it out is we reach people. And it's really going to be what you've seen me do in the community. It's an extension of that. Is you see a lot of churches that are just in the building, and them for in the building. I did my last. I used to do these Sunday end of summer youth services, and I did my last one. I remember I got in the car. My wife was like, "Oh, it was great. I think this is the best one that we did," and I was like, "It wasn't resonating with me." And I told her in the car, and I was like, I see everybody that we see at church. We had some other churches come. I see them. I was like, but what are we doing to reach them out there? What do we? I'm like, it's not. That was the last one that I did. My ministry really went into the community, and that was the first month after I came back from being sick. A lot of things in my life took off from there from me being sick, but
Definitely did.
Basically, we really want to be. You're going to see our church as much as. Like I said, a lot of people. Somebody asked me, "Is your stuff what you do in the community? Is it going to stop?" And you being a no, it's gonna now it's gonna have a whole church behind it, a whole army. There's a whole city to reach. There's a whole demographic of young people to go get, and we're excited to go reach them. And most importantly is the name. Did I say the name?
What?
Did I say the name of our church?
Yeah,
I think
Impact.
you did.
Impact. So we don't. I tell my team all the time is we don't want to be an impactless church. And it's a lot of churches that it's a social club on Sunday. You come in, see the same people, but we want to make impact. And everything that I've done by the grace of God, serving in community work, serving under my father, has made impact. And I believe that's just going to go to an even higher level. But also having this church behind it, which is why we're called Impact Church. It's the name that resonated with me. Is we're actually going to go and make an impact, and people seeing me and you make so much impact. That's just going to continue even more.
That's what's up, man. I mean, I respect that because I remember you called me a month ago or so. Yeah, and you were telling me about this, and you're like, nobody knows, and you told me, and I was like, man, I'm honored. It's like, you tell me. We've only known each other for a few months or a couple months before that. And you mentioned something, and you probably have touched on it right now earlier, but you're like, I felt like I was just running away from my calling. Even though you're in your dad's ministry, even though you are doing that, maybe tell that part, because many people are running away from certain things, actually turning to God, giving their lives over because they know, it's like, I shouldn't be doing this or being this type of lifestyle. But, like, what were you running from though? Like,
I think more than anything, I knew what God had told me when he told me.
When was this?
This was
years.
2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
I was about to say almost 3.
Right before I went to Florida, and I knew he told me, and I was like, no way, no.
But he didn't tell me either.
I didn't tell her. I didn't tell her at all, and I was like, no, and that's obviously you see pastors come behind their father, and it has to be one way.
Yeah.
And I've been groomed, not necessarily by my family, but by the community. Oh, you're gonna take over for your father, and I'm still feel like I'm still following him in my father's footsteps, still carrying on his legacy, but just in a different way. But based on fear, I would just threw it aside, and I was running from that. But as I got closer and closer, God dealt with me more and more. I knew I was like, I'm running from this, man. I'm really running from it. And what I've always understood is ministry is always connected. And your purpose is always connected to other people. And my passion, people tell me all the time, like, you can go into politics. They see me doing stuff with the city and stuff like that, or you can do this and do that. Which, maybe one day that's something I pursue along with pastoring. But I have a passion for people in the position I'm in to pastor. And I've done that at an assistant pastor level, helping my dad, which has been, like I said, one of the greatest joys of my life. But I understand that if I wouldn't have done it, there would have been a, like, man, there's people's lives connected to this that I just walked away from. And fear really is the greatest detour, which causes people to just, miss out on what God has for them and miss out on the plan that God has for them. So really I had to, like I said, I noticed one thing I've always noticed is, and like I brought it up earlier, is the doubt being the detour, the deterrent to really push away. And I've always noticed early that if there's doubt there, I'm supposed to be doing it. And that was when it's doubt. I had never been fought with doubt, fear, like I was fought about this. Me and my mind going back and forth. But that's when I knew, and I knew I couldn't let that win. So I yielded to it, and I'm excited about what's ahead. I'm excited about what's ahead.
Now, hearing that, wife's perspective, the supporter, what do you get from that, hearing that? Because you guys obviously had this conversation, I definitely.
Well, yeah, we had actually many conversations about it. We went back and forth, talked about it in detail, and then I was like, okay, then maybe we should step back. And then I was like, okay, no, maybe we shouldn't, because when God's called you to do something, you need to go. But I mean, we spent hours, like evenings, like usually we'll sit, watch
pillow talk
shows, and
the pillow talk,
or watch shows, after dinner, and there was no shows for days at a time because we were talking for hours about this and going back and forth. And when we came to the conclusion, like, this is the right thing to do, like, we just have to go with it. So I don't know. Yeah, it was a lot of. It wasn't a one-day decision.
Yeah, let's do
definitely
it.
not that. But yeah, I support him completely.
I mean, that's important, when you hear that. And I think this is the part of the reason why, because I know we talked about this earlier, like, hey, just can you help shoot quick clips and announcements? Like, this got to be more than just an announcement.
Yeah.
Because we'll shoot clips, just announcement, but to tell the story again, this is the story. This is, I believe, when they hear this, when they see it, it'll entice people. The spirit will speak to them.
Yeah.
I think that's what I've been looking for. That's what I want to be a part of, and I feel like that's, important. I'm glad you jumped on, because you're like, I don't talk. He does all the talking. I'm like, girl, you talking tonight. We're going to put it out there, and it's going to be a blessing, and so, and I think one thing I love about you guys, man, again, being so young, you guys know, because I guess you guys probably seen the other side of the coin of church.
Oh yeah.
You've seen like, oh, church is good. Yeah. And then you're like, oh man, dude, I don't know. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
It's like, how have you guys in your experience learned to approach certain experiences that people have, like churches have bad raps? What's your guys' approach on that? And it almost in any example, as far as like, oh, the church judges, the church is this, the church don't accept, or don't church, they're like this, or they, have you guys thought about stuff like that too?
Of course. I know the negative connotation. I've been in church. I came up in church. I was in the womb. I came out. I'm a church baby. My mom would clap, and that's how I started playing the drums. I came out. I would beat my feet in her stomachs.
From what I heard, you're the number one drummer in the Central Valley.
Oh man,
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
You're good, bro. You're good. Yeah, he's really. I'm pretty. No, you dude.
Good.
I've seen you play, man.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
But so I came up. I've seen a lot in church. I've seen the greatness of it, and I think the greatness of it, like you said, I've seen the other side. So I know the negative, side that people look at church. I think what excites me is to show people how we're supposed to be with people, the non-judgmentalness and things like that. And I really, my parents came up that way, showing me that way. So I learned so much watching them, in church when I was young, watching my father. My father, it was similar when, he was, in an organization, had everything going for him, and he was supposed to do it one way. God told him, put your title down and go start a church. So I think for me being, when I was young, it was, I was always like you, very observant from the time I was a kid. So watching how my dad and my mom did it when I was young, I really watched that. And when they came out of the organization, they were in really seeing how they broke down a lot of walls and a lot. When they came out in the late 90s into the 2000s, they really showed people the love of God and taking all these rules off that women can't wear pants and women can't wear makeup and you can't go to the movies, but seeing how they showed that it wasn't, none of that. You can come as you are. You can, you know what I mean? So my father was the first church with hip hop dance team and all this kind of stuff. So what it really showed me, now looking back at it, it really showed me like, man, okay, my story was going to be somewhat similar. Not the exact same thing, but I've been watching my whole life. So I've learned so much. I've learned the good side. I've learned the bad side, seeing so much just in the church world and in the kingdom and seeing stuff around. So I'm excited from that standpoint of being able to show the world what it really means and what it really means to have the love of God.
Yeah.
One thing that I say about our church is when I tell my team all the time, we want to show the world, we want to show people God's unconditional love.
Yeah.
There ain't no condition to it.
Come on.
We want to show them that. And that's something I'm very excited to do. So with everybody seeing that and see that, you definitely gonna have to see impact and see what we're bringing.
Dude, I agree. I'm feeling it. I know I can just tell just your guys' heart, your passion.
Yeah.
You two moving together on the same heartbeat is what's going to make it successful.
Yeah.
That's important, and again, in my experiences when I was a youth pastor, she was just not there. She was like taking care of the little ones, and it's like, I wasn't bringing her along with me. Because you get, ministry, it's about the ministry.
Yeah.
And I've learned the hard way, and I think that's why God pulled us back to bring us back into that same heartbeat. And for a church to be started off like this, very intentional, very aware, very precise, every dot and every I, crossing every T is like, I believe you guys are on that, because again, it's not like you're something you just rushed into.
Oh no.
Oh no, definitely not.
You can't. No. I've had experience where some people or some like a pastor that I know just rushed into it, blew up, but then the hype was done. It's like, all right, now what? All right. Then after that, it's like it just dies out, and I don't get that from you guys, so
but that's kind of like how he is kind of with our events too. Like we have a high from like our Kick It outreach. It was amazing. It was huge. It was like, look at the impact we made. And then he's like, okay, like we're excited about it, but then we're like, okay, now let's focus on the next thing. We can stay that high about it, but let's now, okay, what can we do next? What can we do that's greater? So then he's always on to like, let's get the ball going. So we are excited about it. We take the time to take it in, and then before you know it, he's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And there we go.
I hate being one of my biggest pet peeves. A lot of people I don't know about me. They know, she knows of my team, but I hate being complacent.
Yeah.
Hate it. I hate being
That's the word I was
stagnant.
looking for, yeah.
I hate, it's as great as it is, like Countdown to King on Sunday, everybody, I was already in the car on the way thinking, how are we going to make
Prep for Kick
It. How are we going to make Countdown to King 24
Yeah.
great? On the way to the event, my mind is already, I'm past it.
Yo, I'm the same way, man.
Yeah.
Ask her. I mean, she can tell you when we end the season, we would do stuff. I was like, what do I got to do different?
Yeah.
Because I don't want, because if I get at that point where it's like you get complacent, I don't want to do it no more. And I've gotten to that point, especially in ministry. I was doing ministry 17, 18 years. It's a long time, for me. And it was nonstop, and so it's one of those things where I got complacent and I wasn't growing. So if I'm not growing, I'm frustrated. Then I lock down everything, and especially with my business, my show, my family. One thing I've learned, maybe this is a good topic for you guys too. It's like because one thing I knew I had to do is I had to make sure it was at home first.
Yes, sir.
And he talks about that.
Home
too.
first.
Yeah.
If I can't look myself in the mirror, my wife, my kids can't look at me in the face, but like, he's real here. He's just like that here when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
How important is that to have the foundation of a home? Not perfection, not what we hear and see all the time, the PKs. It's like, because you're a PK, it's like, How do you guys keep the foundation at home first? And when people see you, they know just by just the witness of their spirit, you know, the discernment's like, no, they're like that. Mm-hmm. How important is that to you guys? Home first.
You want to go?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say that's definitely important. I'm like, I don't know if that's like number one.
No, it's number one. It's number one. Yeah. Number one, even before home, I would say her. My wife has to be first. I as much as I love my kids and my beautiful daughter that has my heart and my son that has my heart, that's first. You know, my wife is first. So I told her going into pastorship, you know, I'm not, you know, this is something one of those talks that we've had that I have to make time for her constantly. Obviously, I'm working the community and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm here and I'm there and now adding the church onto it. She can't fall to number 2, number 3. My home, my kids can't. But really keeping the foundation, like you said, number one is making sure that God is the foundation, and then on top of that, obviously my family's there, because there's going to be storms. We've been together since we were 15 years old, so we face storms, we face trials, tribulations. We're not perfect, you know. Even though people seen us together and they see all the, you know, happy pictures and all that on social media, but we've dealt with our trials and tribulations. But one thing, when God is the foundation, you're going to have the storms. Storms are going to come. It's not going to be sunny and no rain. You're going to go through seasons, and there's different seasons. And the devil will fight what's good. He'll fight what's real. And I think one thing with us is, with God as the foundation, is it's never fail. So with us is, you know, like I said, my family is most important. Making sure that I have balance. I think it's important as a pastor, really being in ministry, period. Pastor, music person, deacon, if it's overrid with church, and you're not taking your wife on dates, you're not having a hobby for yourself. Jesus said, I came that you may have an abundant life, and that you may live it. You know what I mean? Live it to the full, not live church. People are going to see your light when you go out and do other things like that. So me still dating her, me, you know, still prioritizing date nights. That's not going away when I started church, or us going out to go enjoy ourselves, nice dinner, some nice music. That's always going to stay there. So making sure that I keep that foundation and the priority of us, my kids, my son, as busy as I am, I'm still making it to his basketball practices and, you know, all of that stuff. So really keeping that strong and understanding that the balance of it is going to have to remain and really be something that I prioritize even more now, because my life has got a lot busier over the past few years with just becoming more of a visible person in the community and doing this and everything that I lead, and now with being a pastor and a young pastor at that, still making sure that I keep my priorities in that way. So balance is going to be a big part for us. So it's something that we're definitely going to prioritize.
And I feel like too, just knowing that the time and the seasons where I know he's going to be busy, I kind of like, I have to be understanding as well, because I'm not going to be like, okay, what about me? And I know like kick it is like right around the corner. So then I also have to balance that as well for him, like try not to give him too hard of a time, because I know after the event, then it'll be us again. But until then, like I'm there with him, like, okay, so our time together is a little different when certain events are around. Like maybe it's not sitting watching a show, maybe it's not doing this, but like, okay, we're talking about the event. Yeah, I'm still getting time with him. I mean, it's just a different type of time, but like I said, I think it's just a certain type of balance we have to kind of give each other. So I try to respect the time that when there's certain seasons that I know are like really going to be busy, then I'll step back. I definitely, but I'm still want to be there for him. Yeah,
I mean, that's real, because again, it's a different type of maturity too. That's one thing I'm blessed. Even though I knew I was wrong, you know, like just going out, you know, I'm doing the church thing. I'll be back, baby. You watch the kids. You know, I'm doing God's work. But God's work was at home, and I wasn't there. Yeah, you know, and maybe you can talk about this, but again, I would just go. And one thing that was such a blessing that God blessed me with my wife is that she never once like nagged, you know, like, well, y'all, I'm over here doing it. And she never threw it in my face, even though she rightfully could have, you know, and that's a blessing, you know. Maybe from your experience, you know, how did we learn to balance now after post-church and all that in ministry?
before.
Yeah, or what you had to learn, and especially with your experience with all the little, because we had little ones back to back.
Oh man,
little ones.
They were like 2-3
days apart. No,
seriously.
We was busy.
Man,
we had 3 car seats in the back seat.
Oh my goodness.
So that's,
oh my goodness.
That's
you ready for another car seat?
Well, during, it was kind of messed up. I feel like, he got to do everything, and I stayed home. But then I was like, but I could just be in my pajamas, watching the kids, playing with them, teaching them. And I think that's one thing that he feels like he lacked, was he doesn't have those memories because he was busy at the church. And he's like, man, I don't remember, Lily at 2 years old. Is that because you weren't really around? You were busy. I go, but I took these pictures. You can see everything. But I mean, it was really tough. It was. Not until we got out of church, we're like, okay, so what do you want to do? Yeah. And I think that's where our relationship started. Yeah. It was just between me and him, and the kids were like, okay, what do you want to do? So, I mean, and we didn't know that until church was kind of out of the way. And we instead of blaming other people, we're just like looking at each other like,
like, so what's up? We didn't know, and again, at 17 years coming up on 18, man, and been married, and I had to learn a lot. I was a part of ministries. We're running 1,000 students every week. Just ministry. I mean, 9 buses going out to all other cities, and that was every Thursday. So every week we were running for a solid year, 2 years when we were part of that ministry. Then that church split, but then we started another church. But it became about that, because once again, Thursday was over. All right, next week it was a convention every week, and so we pulled and she was a part of that. But again, our story is that we had our oldest outside of marriage. I knew we were gonna get married, but we rushed it. But I knew I was gonna marry her. Yeah. So that's kind of one of the reasons why she, stepped down. We got to step you down. Yeah. But again, it's like one of those things, man. And here we are with 17 years later, man, fully aware. It's like, you know what? I knew, like she said, I don't remember those days when they were little. Come home, I'm tired. Just busy ministry, church. We were church 24/7, man. And she didn't have any friends. She didn't know how to talk to people once we moved to Clovis. Wow. That's how much church we were, because it was only her family, the church family, the people that was there. That's it.
And that's the culture that I think church has. That some ways in the kingdom has really shown people. You've seen a lot of broken families because of that. And really prioritize, church on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but then where you spending time with your family. And my father taught me that a lot coming up. I'm still gonna date your mom. I'm still doing this and prioritizing the family. So I had a great example from that standpoint. With my mom and dad, watching them as pastors and watching them busy. But then also you gotta learn it for yourself when you come up, because I didn't expect to be a leader. I thought I was gonna be a drummer, but then you get in life, and God, I'm a leader now and assistant pastor. Now becoming a pastor, you start to see, okay, I have to apply that. I have to apply that balance. But it's one of the things, and that's one thing with our church is really making sure that it's sufficient for people. Not we're gonna make it this and that, but I want to make it where I understand where we. Your family needs to be priority. People that's working with us, understanding that you have time for your wife, not overworking people that work with you. You know what I mean? Understanding they got family and they got kids. So like I said, I've had some great examples, but being able to apply that and to be able to help the kingdom in that way as well, of having families and husbands and wife have balance, I think is going to be an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, so again, we learned that the hard way when we moved to Clovis, because again, I was working with your brother at Channel 26, and I just
shout out to Bert.
Yeah, shout out Bert.
Shout out Bert.
Bert,
my God.
Whether you ever see this or watch this, because you're Chief Otog now, man.
Chief.
Right.
Chief. Hefe, bro. You know.
All hell to Chief.
Yeah, all hell. You know, and he would tell me his stories. And here, I'll give you like a little thing about Bert, because I had this thing where I have a foundation that we've been trying to start when I was down with COVID, man, that just stopped everything. But I have this vision of helping the community out with this business type of work, you know, because again, if a clown like me can get something off the ground like this with no resources, I know people with the talent, natural born talent, can do that. They just need guidance. So I'm trying to recruit a team, talk to people about it, and I was talking to Bert about it, and this is why I love this man. I love this man to death, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" And I didn't tell nobody I was a pastor. We walked away from it. I was like, I'm just going to start over, do my career in news. And this was after some time we were talking. He's like, yeah, you go to church? I was like, well, not no more. He's like, well, let me ask you this. Yeah, I don't know if he remembers this. He's like, were you a pastor? I was like, maybe. He's like, you were. He says, I knew there was something different about you.
Prophet Bert.
Yeah, he's like, he says, there was just something different that spoke to my spirit. I was like, dang it, man, God.
You can't hide that.
I can't.
You can't hide that.
And I was like, oh, what? And then since then, Bert has always just been that brother to me. Yeah. And again, I want to be like Bert. I genuinely do this. I'm gonna cut this teaser out. I'm gonna tag Bert.
Brother,
yeah, that's your brother. She's like, that's my brother. He picked on me.
Shout out to Bert. Shout out to Bert, man.
But for real, it was one of those things. And again, it's like when you called me and you're talking about, you know, about this ministry and about this opportunity you're doing, and you're like, I was like, I'm like you, man. I'm running. You know, I'm genuinely still running right now. Like right now, I'm still. And we're praying, man. There's things that God has put before us, and we're definitely still praying, man. I don't, like when we left that night, you know, we were just like, man, God, we're praying. You know, I don't get too crazy details, you know, but I believe in you guys. I genuinely do. And I'm happy that you guys are doing this, take a step in the faith. And
I appreciate you.
I believe in this time, this culture, this society, this era we're in now, you know, in the world is definitely what we need. Yeah. And it's what you guys are doing, you know.
Yeah,
and,
yes, sir.
You know, you guys have my support, all of us, you know, my family here, because obviously, look, my daughter right there working, you know. So, again, I had to include my family in what I do.
Yeah.
You know, because I have to be careful. I have to be us men, the priests of our home have to be careful.
Yes, sir.
You know, because the devil knows, you know, and, you know, I never had no problem with any of that. But at any moment when we're just at our lowest, our weakest, man, if we're not prepared, we're not prayed up, read up, it's, you know, it's a daily thing, you know, and I believe you guys are on that path, you know, it's a blessing.
Yes, sir.
You know, and so, I mean, we can talk more. I can go to my soapbox about churches and life and anything, man, but anybody listening and watching, man, just, you know, what's your guys' message to them? What's your message to just for you guys, Impact Ministry, Impact Church, and what's your guys' message?
I would say that my message to people watching from us is that when God is calling you to do something, and you know when God's telling you to do something, you know when that call is there, whether it's fear, whether it's doubt, do it. If you don't jump, you're going to stay in the same place that you've always been. There's people waiting for you. There's a purpose that God's put inside of you. God's known the plan before the foundation of the world for you. So once God's revealed it to you, just jump. Just jump. Just do it. It's scary. As scared as you might be, as much fear as you might have, jump. And when you jump, you'll see the impact come. Just like the impact's about to come to Fresno.
Right.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
What about you? What about you, Mom? I mean, you speak it too, girl. I know you got some word in you.
I don't know. I think I jump on what he said. You definitely have to jump and don't let fear hold you back. Because, I mean, it could have caught us, you know, but I don't know. We're going in and.
Yeah. You know the crazy thing that, I'm sorry to interrupt you. She told me, we just struck up a big partnership with Kick It. I met with a huge organization. I'm not going to get into too much details about it. But I called her and I was like, told her about the meeting. And I'm like, this is huge. You know, this is just going to take it to another level. And she was on the phone and she was like, if you would have let fear stop you with Kick It Outreach. And a lot of people don't know Kick It Outreach I came back, I went from 168 pounds to 105 pounds in the course of months. And I had been sick. And first thing I came back when I was good enough to go at 110 pounds, I told her, remember that thing I said about Kick It Outreach? I'm going to do it. And she's like, what are you doing? Like, are you sure? No.
I was like, your house. Like,
and the way I wanted to do it didn't happen. And then she's like, well, you're not going to do it, right? I said, I'm going to still do it. And she was like, had you let fear and doubt stop you, you would have never seen
me
this.
Stop him, because I could have stopped him, because I was so concerned about him. I mean, seeing him that little, that already like put fear in me. But I don't want him to overwork himself. I mean, like his sickness, that's like a whole nother story. That's a whole nother
We'll get into
thing.
that. Part 3.
That is a whole nother thing that we went through. But I was fearful for him just to get into anything, because I know how the events take a lot out of you. So,
they do.
But he ran with it, and
that's really, now we see like, you know, doing it in Vegas and how much it's grown into in just what was that, our fourth year? Yeah, our fourth. It would have never got to that point. Had that moment of, you know, hey, you know what? Nah, you know, I'm not going to do it. I'll just put it to the side. With Countdown to King, the same thing. When God gave me the vision for it, I'm like, I never heard of anything like this. And I just came from a meeting at City Hall, and they explained to me, and we come up with a great King Day something. And I remember, I'd never forget, in the car going to pick up my kids, and God spoke to me, Countdown to King. And the whole concept of it. And I remember, had I said no, you know, y'all wouldn't have saw what y'all saw Sunday. So there's something amazing on the other side. And
then people that you touch along the way, because like the whole Kick It thing, like our last one we just had, like you leave feeling so fulfilled because of like how many children that stopped by. And you hear some parents say stories and how thankful and appreciative they are. But it's amazing. It really touches you. I don't want to, I'm quite sensitive sometimes.
Get on it, girl. Don't be afraid of that.
It's amazing like what you can do when you put your heart into something, and then you know, when God gives you a vision, you run with it. Like, it's his people that we're touching, and you know.
Yeah, I agree. You know, one thing I know, trust me, I get like that. That's one thing I knew. I was always afraid to put that out, be emotional, and kind of just show that. But on this pod, I've cried. I've gotten real emotional.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it just shows me what it reminds me of, that God's still here. He's still with me. You know, his spirit's still there. He's still tugging at my heart. You know, it's not like I'm this crazy backslider away from him.
No.
You know, it's just one thing, like you said, and it just resonates. It's like, man, just unconditional love. There's no prerequisites to come love. Just come. Like when you hear the cliche all the time, come as you are. God wants you at your worst.
Yeah.
He wants you. So I believe the reason why he wants you at your worst, so he can help you release that. And then
there's nothing greater than God's love. Like, it's, I don't know, it brings so much. And that's how I don't know, like when people deal with certain things, I'm like, just let God love you and wrap his arms around you. Because when you reach out to God and you feel his love, it's a different feeling. It's amazing. So, girl,
you are preaching. So you can speak it, girl. I know you can bring that Shondo. Bringing that robo over here.
Yes, sir.
But I'm just saying, I'm so happy for you guys. You know, again, man, like I've told you before, you got my support. Anything you need, you know, we can plan it out. You know, kick it and all that. We'll bring it out, man, and we'll talk, and we can bring people on and just promote, man. So you guys got my support. You know, where can people find you guys? You guys have your website, social media's up at all?
Yeah, social media. You can find us at Impact _ Fresno, home of Impact Outreach, and soon to be obviously Impact Church. And then obviously my social media, which has a lot of content as well. And her social media, Darrell Thomas, and
Priscilla Celeste Thomas.
Priscilla Celeste Thomas. Yeah, there you go. Okay. But you can find us on social media, and we're excited, and we appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate you, the great friendship and how everything formed. Everything happens for a reason, and you see why God connected us. And I'm thankful for the friendship and the support I'll never take support for granted, because people don't got to support you. Right. And I never take that for granted in genuine friends. So I thank y'all for that. And still here is family, and you guys are family. Yes, sir. Yeah.
What about you, baby? Anything you want to say? Last words, last anything, people watching, listening, and overall convo?
No, just everyone follow them and go to church.
Go to church.
Make some friends.
Church. Let's go.
I need friends. No.
I said make some friends.
Oh, she's getting all red over there. Yeah. She white girl over there, but no, I want to pray for you guys, man. It's something I hardly ever do on the show. I think this is probably my second or third time praying on the show. Okay. I definitely want to pray over you guys, man. Just make it public and just we'll end it out on that. So, Father, we want to thank you for what was spoken. I believe just the main topic tonight is your unconditional love, that we cannot walk so far for us that you can't reach for us, God. And I pray that we take that everywhere we go. But first of all, we keep it here at home first, foundational, Father. I believe, again, in one of our foundational topics tonight, God. And I pray that you bless Edward and Priscilla here on their mission, on what you've called them to be, especially as a power couple, God, in your kingdom. I pray that you bless them, guide them, Father. You shield them, you protect them from every form of adversity, anything, Father. But I pray that you bless them all the more, Father. And I believe in life there are risks, Father, and we've heard this, that the greater the risk, the greater the reward. And I believe the reward we all, especially these two, Father, will receive, Father, is in heaven and in glory. That's the reward, and I pray that we achieve that one. And I pray you bless them, keep them. You just allow your Holy Spirit to empower them and their family and their team, and to continue to make an impact on this community that it desperately needs, God. And I pray that you use them, Father, for your glory, not theirs. And it's in your Son's name I pray. In your Son's name I pray, and I ask this. Amen.
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 Appreciate you, brother.
Love you guys, man.
Appreciate you. We love you too, man.
All right, y'all stay tuned, man. This Riders Podcast is a dope podcast with my good friend. Actually, he's a good friend of mine too, Pastor TJ De La Garza. You guys are not the hero. It's not about you. It's about Jesus. I love you guys. We'll see you guys soon.